Hi, I'm Russ. Welcome to GFN Gaming, you delightful falcons. Today's game will be a slightly different one. We are playing a learn-along game of one-page rules, Grimdark Future Firefight. Grimdark Future Firefight is a skirmish game set in a war-torn sci-fi future. The large form rulebook is 17 pages, however comes with a condensed rulebook that fits on, you guessed it, a single page. Each of the army's separate rules also fit on one page. Perhaps most important of all, these rules are completely free. We're going for a recommended 250 points for our first game, and the Robot Legions will be taking apart the Battle Brothers. The game recommends a playing area of 48 inches by 48 inches, however I'll be using my 30 by 22 game board and just reducing the deployment zone size. The game boasts an easy to play format and it doesn't lie. The main victory condition in a standard base game of Firefight is to hold more objectives than your opponent by the end of the game, and that's made up of 4 turns. At the start of the game, one of the players rolls a d3 and adds 2 to this number. That'll be the number of objectives placed on the battlefield. The players roll off and the winner places the first objective. The second player then places an objective and it alternates until they're all down. The deployment zone is generally 12 inches from opposite board edges, however in this game we've gone for a 6-inch deployment zone. Players roll off, the winner gets to choose a deployment zone and places a model. It then moves to the opposing player to place a model or unit, and so on until both sides are fully deployed. We'll get back to the deployment, but first let's have a look at the 2 teams taking part today, starting with the Battle Brothers. Leading the Battle Brothers is a Master Brother. He has a quality and defense stat of 3+, he's also tough 3, essentially making him a 3-wound model. He's equipped with a heavy rifle and an energy sword. I'm taking a Brother Biker because it's a unit I've never had a chance to use before. He has the same stat line as the Master Brother, 3s across the board, and he's equipped with twin heavy rifles, an energy sword, and a heavy pistol. Making up the meat of the force are 2 Battle Brothers, quality and defense 3, and both armed with a close combat weapon and a heavy rifle. The last member of the Battle Brothers team is a Pathfinder, quality and defense 4+ for this guy, and he's also armed with a close combat weapon and a heavy rifle. That's it for the team, 250 points of Battle Brothers, so let's have a look at what the Robot Legions have brought to the battle. Leading the slow and sturdy Robot Legions in today's battle is the Robot Lord, 3s across the board for his stats and armed with a close combat weapon and Gauss pistol. Don't look too closely, it's not fully painted. The Tri-Scorpion is a melee blender, 3s across the board and 4 attacks with its dual Reaper Blade. The Guardian has a solid 3-3 stat line and is equipped with an Atom Caster ranged weapon and a Void Sword. Can't really not take some warriors, and so there are 2 in this list. Decent stat line of 3-4, and both are armed with close combat weapons and Gauss rifles. Finally, another model that rarely sees play and isn't quite painted, a Bot Swarm. Terrible stats as you might imagine, but it's quite mobile in an otherwise slow-moving team. That's it for the 2 teams, so with that done, let's start the mission and go into turn 1. As mentioned before, deployment is started by the player that won the roll-off and alternates between players. The Battle Brothers player won the roll-off, starts deployment first, and will also take the first turn once both teams are fully deployed. A small squad of Battle Brothers patrol a remote colony. With distress beacons recently activated, the Battle Brothers are shocked to find little left of the colonists. Only ash and death awaits them. Stumbling through the ruins, slow-moving hordes of the Robot Legion march ever forwards. A Robot Lord and its phalanx stride forward to meet the brothers in combat. In Firefight, all units can activate and complete one of 4 possible actions. They can hold, meaning they get no movement but can shoot. They can advance, moving up to 6 inches and may shoot after moving. They can rush, moving up to 12 inches but may not shoot. Or they can charge, moving 12 inches into base contact with another model and then fight in melee. Units also have keywords which might change base rules. For example, I can move the Battle Biker who has the fast keyword, which adds 2 inches to his basic move, meaning he has an 8-inch advance and a 16-inch rush and charge. So he bikes on over here and he targets the Guardian with his twin heavy rifles. It's within range, however there is a terrain feature in between which grants cover, and as such the biker will have a -1 to hit. Terrain features such as these are classed as advanced rules, and as such if you wanted a simpler experience, you don't have to include them. When requiring any rolls to be made for actions, we use the quality stat. When firing, this model has a quality stat of 3+, meaning it will need to roll a 3+ to hit the target. However, this is modified down to a 4+ due to the terrain granting the target cover, which means none of these shots will hit the target. With the biker's activation done now, we alternate to the other player to choose a model to activate. The robot swarm is going to move forward, staying behind cover and in position to climb up and take objective 1. I then rush a battle brother forward, making sure that I'm within 3 inches of objective 3. It's important to note that objectives are only scored at the end of the game, however you can claim them by being within 3 inches of them at the end of any battle round. At the end of the battle round, if you have a model within 3 inches of an objective and there are no enemy operatives within 3 inches, you claim the objective. Once claimed, you no longer have to stay within 3 inches of it. If you move away, the objective remains claimed. If the battle round ends and both a friendly and enemy operative are within 3 inches and neither is stunned, the objective is contested and neither side holds it. Not suffering from the slow rule that reduces the Robot Legion's speed, the Tri-Scorpion will charge into the Biker Brother and attack with its dual Reaper Blade. Combat works in a very similar way to the shooting. Your weapon shows you how many attack dice you roll and the target is your model's quality score. In this scenario, it's 4 attacks hitting on 3+. All 4 attacks hit, and this weapon has an armor piercing or AP value of 2, meaning that it will -2 off the target's defense value. The Biker Brother has a defense value of 3, so his save becomes 5+. The Biker rolls to save each successful hit, but only saves 1. This means it'll go from 3 wounds to 0. Each time a model loses a wound, it will gain a wound token. This affects the wound outcome. Normally, once a model hits 0 wounds, you make another roll and add the number of wound markers to it. On the roll of a 6+, the model is knocked out and is removed from play. Otherwise, it is just stunned and it misses its next activation. In this scenario, the biker is tough 3, which means along with having 3 wounds, it only ever gets knocked out on the roll of an 8. Having taken 3 wounds in the game so far, it has 3 wound tokens, which means the roll would normally be 3+ to knock the model out. However, with tough 3, that means the roll still needs to be a 5+. So in this scenario, the biker is just stunned. As the model was not knocked out, the attacker automatically moves backwards 1 inch, a small distinction, but it does mean that it can now be targeted by ranged attacks. And being targeted by ranged attacks is exactly what's going to happen. I move a Battle Brother forward to target the Tri-Scorpion, and then I fire with my heavy rifle. The target can be seen through the window of this building, however the majority is obscured, so we're going to grant cover, giving it a -1 to hit. The Battle Brother has a quality stat of 3, and with the cover this means he's hitting on 4s. He gets a hit and the heavy rifle is AP 1, so the defense value of 3 for the Tri-Scorpion is reduced to a 4+. Fails his save, however with the regeneration keyword, it gets another chance to save on a 5 or a 6. Fails the regen save, so that's 1 wound down, leaving it with 2 remaining. This warrior moves out to get line of sight on the Battle Brother that just fired, and I start using tokens to track the model's activations. The target is in range, however slightly obscured by some terrain, so we decide to give it the benefit of cover. The warrior has a quality statistic of 3, and with cover it'll be hitting on 4s. Hits on a 6, and as the weapon has the rending keyword, this means the attack has an AP value of 4. This would normally mean no save at all, however a 6 always classes as a success, just as a 1 always counts as a failure. Rolls a defense die looking for a 6, and fails to get it, so that's going to leave him with 0 wounds. On the roll of a 1 though, the Battle Brother is just stunned. Stunned models remain so during their next activation, and as this model has already activated this turn, it will mean that they will not get to activate in turn 2. Looking to make a beeline for objective 1 later in the game, this Pathfinder is going to rush, heading towards the objective. With the model's Strider rule, it doesn't get slowed down by travelling over obstacles. With the keyword slow, the warrior can only move 4 inches, but it's still enough to get line of sight on the stunned biker. If a stunned model is successfully shot or hit in close combat, it is immediately knocked out without the chance to defend. Even with the -1 from cover, the warrior hits on a 4 and the brother biker is taken out. As the first model gets knocked out, it's worth mentioning morale. At the end of any battle round where a side has half or less than half of its units or models remaining, then each remaining unit or model needs to take a morale check. A morale check is just a quality check. If the unit or model fails, then they are removed from the game as a casualty. Knowing that this is my last activation and my opponent still has 2 left, I know that I will get to activate first next turn. So I move my Master Brother into charge range of the Tri-Scorpion, ready for turn 2. My opponent then rushes forward with the Guardian and also rushes forward with the Robot Lord. And with that, we're at the end of turn 1. And here's a quick recap of what's happened in the turn. No casualties of the Robot Legions, and I have 1 stunned Battle Brother and another knocked out. No one holds objective 1, Battle Brothers claim objective 3, and the Robot Legions have objective 2. The Robot Legions are pressing forward and all of their models are ready to strike. On the back foot a little bit, the Battle Brothers will really have to work to get back into the game, but they will be getting the first activation. Hopefully it'll be enough. So let's move in to turn 2. Being the first to finish activating all of their models in the first turn means that the Battle Brothers will get to activate first in turn 2. Starting the turn with a bang, they're going to charge the Master Brother into the Tri-Scorpion. 2 powerhouses of the battlefield slam into each other. Energy swords crackle and dual Reaper blades hum with power. 2 attacks from the Master Brother hitting on 3s. And he gets 2 hits, one of which is rending. With AP 1, it's a 4-up save for the normal strike, and he makes it, but fails the 6-up save needed for the rending strike. Rending also means he won't get the regeneration save. As he survives, the Tri-Scorpion will choose to strike back, although this will mean he'll be fatigued, which we'll cover when it comes up later on. 4 attacks hitting on 3s and using the wrong dice. The Tri-Scorpion hits twice at AP 2, so it's going to be a 5-up save. Makes 1 save and fails 1, so that's going to be 1 damage, taking the Master Brother down to 2 wounds remaining. The Master Brother, failing to kill the Tri-Scorpion, then moves back an inch so that no one can remain locked in combat. Having opted to strike in return, the Tri-Scorpion has become fatigued, which means for the remainder of this turn, any subsequent melee strikes will only hit on unmodified rolls of 6s. The Guardian activates now, charging through into the Battle Brother near objective 3. Not quite as deadly in combat as the Tri-Scorpion, he will nonetheless be hitting on a 3. Gets 1 hit with the Void Sword, and the Battle Brother fails the defense roll, so it's going to go to a wound roll. And on the roll of a 4, that is just a stunned result. With that, the Guardian moves back an inch, but is still within 3 inches of objective 3, so will now contest it. A fact of which the Pathfinder can absolutely not stand for, so he opens fire with his heavy rifle. The Pathfinder lays down withering amounts of fire, but on the roll of a 1, none of them hit. The Bot Swarm climbs the building to obtain objective 1 and moves to stop the Pathfinders contesting it if they charge it. With a few more activations to go, my opponent moves a warrior towards my Master Brother and fires. Firing with the Gauss rifle, it'll be 1 attack, hitting on 3s with 6s being rending. The warrior gets a hit with a 5, and the Master Brother actually fails his save on a 2, so that's going to be 1 wound down, just 1 remaining. It's a risky move, but my opponent is going to charge the Tri-Scorpion in to try and finish my Master Brother. Due to fatigue, the Tri-Scorpion will only be hitting on natural 6s. Gets 1 hit at AP 2, so it's a 5-up save. Fails a save with a 1, so it's on to the wound roll. And on the roll of a 5, that's going to be knocking the Master Brother right out. Things are looking bad for me and the Battle Brothers. Having defeated my Master Brother, it then gets to consolidate 3 inches, and the Tri-Scorpion moves onto Objective 2. The warrior is going to rush forward towards the Battle Brothers' lines, and the Robot Lord is going to move forward also, heading towards Objective 3. With no more activations left, that is the end of turn 2, so let's have a quick recap of what's happened. So another model knocked out for the Battle Brothers, however they do still hold Objective 3, with the Guardian just being out of range. These 2 stunned models will also be returning to action for turn 3. It's not looking great for the Battle Brothers, but they're still in the game, so let's go on to turn 3. The Battle Brothers get to activate first, and they have a plan to take Objective 1. However, they need to put some damage on the Bot Swarm first. So, this Battle Brother activates and fires his heavy rifle. 1 shot with the heavy rifle, hitting on 3s. It's AP 1 and the Swarm has a save of 6 up, but a 6 always saves, but he fails it on a 2, so that's 1 wound down. With absolutely no regard for my plans, my opponent charges the Tri-Scorpion into my remaining Battle Brother. 4 attacks with an AP 2 weapon, and I'm a little nervous. Fully rested, the Tri-Scorpion will be hitting on 3s again. Gets 3 hits, and at AP 2 it's going to be a 5-up save. Does make 2, but it still goes to the wound roll, but he's just stunned. With only the Pathfinder left to activate now, my plans of getting Objective 1 are well and truly sunk. At this stage, I'm just going to play to try and make sure that I can keep Objective 3. I activate the Pathfinder, and once again shoot at the Guardian. And once again with a quality rating of 4, he misses with a 3. With all my activations done, it's time to saddle him for some big hurt. The Bot Swarms first, and he charges into my Pathfinder to fight in combat. The Bot Swarm has 3 attacks, but it only hits on 6s, but because of rending, those 6s will be AP 4. Does get a hit on a 6, and the save is failed, and on the roll of a 6, the Pathfinder is knocked out and taken out of the game. This now marks the tipping point for the Battle Brothers' morale. Any remaining units at the end of this battle round were going to have to take morale checks. The Bot Swarm then consolidates towards Objective 3. My opponent then moves a warrior forward onto Objective 2 to get line of sight on my last standing Battle Brother. Although the models can see each other, we're going to give the Battle Brother cover, meaning it's a -1 for the warrior to hit. Firing with his Gauss rifle, and it's a hit on a 5. The Battle Brother makes his save on a 4 though. The second warrior creeps forward, making sure it's outside of an inch of the Tri-Scorpion, and fires at the same Battle Brother. Without cover, it's a hit on a 3. It's a failed save on a 2, and with the roll of a 5, the Battle Brother is knocked out. With that kill, there is only 1 Battle Brother left on the game board, and he's stunned. Looking to perform the coup de grace, the Robot Lord marches forward to put the stunned Battle Brother out of his misery. 3 attacks with his close combat weapon, looking for a single 3-up, and he gets 2, so that's the Battle Brother knocked out. In a brutal display of martial prowess, the Robot Legions have wiped out the Battle Brothers. That was the last activation, and at the end of the battle round, the Robot Legions will claim Objective 3. At the end of the turn now, so let's have a quick recap of what happened in turn 3. It was a pretty telling round for the Battle Brothers, a turn which saw the last of them get wiped off the board. We'll be ending the game here at the end of turn 3 with the Robot Legion securing all 3 objectives for a win. That's the end of the game. Hopefully you've got a better idea of how the game plays and whether or not you might want to give it a go for yourself. The large thing to focus on with this game is that the rule set is completely free. Aside from the models that I already have, I didn't have to pay anything to play this game. Anyway, if you think you might enjoy this game, make sure you check out One Page Rules. They have a load of free rule sets that conveniently enough fit on one page of A4, and I'll leave a link to their site in the description of this video.